There comes a moment in life when you realize that not everyone you run after is meant to walk with you. We spend so much time chasing people, chasing approval, attention, validation, love, hoping that if we run fast enough, they will finally turn around and choose us.
But the truth is, what is truly yours will never require you to beg, force, or chase. Imagine standing on a beach with open hands. The harder you try to grab the water, the faster it slips away. But when you simply keep your hands open, the water settles naturally. Life works in the same way. Life works in the same way.
Attachment creates pressure, pressure creates fear, and fear pushes people away. But calmness attracts, self-worth attracts, peace attracts. When you stop chasing, something powerful happens inside you. You turn your focus inward instead of outward. You start improving yourself instead of proving yourself. You begin to understand that the right people are not found by running after them. They are drawn by the energy you carry. Life rewards those who choose themselves. Because when you choose yourself, you stop begging for the love you deserve. You stop lowering your standards for temporary company. You stop compromising your peace for people who don't value it. And strangely enough, when you stop chasing, the same people who once ignored you suddenly start noticing you. Why? Because you are no longer seeking from a place of emptiness, you're living from a place of fullness. The universe responds differently when you value your time, your heart, and your journey. Opportunities come, better relationships come, peace comes, and the right people walk in effortlessly. So instead of running behind those who don't see your worth, start walking confidently in the direction of your purpose. The ones meant for you will join you without being pushed. Remember, you don't lose people when you stop chasing. You lose stress, anxiety, and disappointment. And you gain real connections. Choose yourself. Hold your dignity and watch how everything that belongs to you finds its way into your life, naturally, beautifully, effortlessly, dauntlessly. When you stop chasing people, something subtle yet powerful begins to shift in your inner world. The energy you once poured into seeking validation, attention, and approval starts flowing back toward yourself. Instead of running after people who constantly make you prove your worth, you start recognizing that your dignity is far more valuable than any temporary companionship. When you operate from desperation, people sense it. Even if you never say a word, the energy of I need you to stay becomes heavy, and people naturally pull away from heaviness. But the moment you choose dignity over desperation, everything about you changes. Your silence becomes composed instead of anxious, your presence becomes calm instead of clingy, and your interactions become genuine instead of forced. Dignity is magnetic. When you move with calm confidence instead of chasing, people become curious. They notice your absence, they sense your value, and they realize you are not easily replaceable. There is something highly attractive about a person who knows their worth, who does not beg for attention, and who can walk away with grace when they are not valued. This is not arrogance. This is self-respect. Many people misunderstand the idea of not chasing. They assume it means giving up on relationships or cutting people off emotionally, but it's actually the opposite. It means creating space for real connections instead of exhausting yourself for temporary ones. When you stop chasing, you stop agreeing to one-sided relationships where you give everything and receive nothing. You stop bending your boundaries just to keep people close. You stop apologizing for wanting to be valued. And ironically, as soon as you stop chasing, the dynamic changes. The same people who once felt comfortable ignoring you start feeling the distance. They realize they can no longer take you for granted. They sense that you are not glued to their presence, and that awareness often pulls them back toward you. Walking away from chasing does not mean walking away from love. It means walking towards self-worth. People treat you based on how you treat yourself. When you show the world that you are willing to run after others, you unknowingly teach them that your time, energy, and presence are not worth much. But when you stand still, calm, confident, and content, you teach them that your presence is a privilege. It teaches them that if they want space in your life, they have to value it. And the simple shift from chasing to choosing makes all the difference. Dignity attracts respect because respect comes from recognizing someone's self-control, self-awareness, and emotional balance. People admire those who don't lose themselves for others. They admire those who maintain their identity and their peace. You become a person people want to be around Not because you chase them, but because your energy is stable and uplifting. Your presence feels less like a demand and more like a blessing. You stop trying to impress and simply start existing with authenticity. And authenticity is rare in a world filled with pretense. When you stop chasing, you start standing. Standing on your values, standing on your worth, standing on your inner strength. This calm steadiness creates an aura that speaks louder than your words. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin, who are not restless or needy. They are drawn to those who do not cling, because clinging comes from fear, but calmness comes from confidence. And confidence is the greatest magnet of all. Dot, your value doesn't decrease when someone fails to see it. It decreases only when you start trying to convince them of it. One of the biggest mistakes we make is believing that other people's recognition is proof of our worth. We give too much power to their opinions, their reactions, their acceptance, and their approval. But the truth is, your worth is not something that can be handed to you by someone else. It is something you carry within you, unchanged, untouched, and unaffected by the perceptions of people who may not even understand your journey. When someone doesn't appreciate you, it doesn't mean you are inadequate. It simply means they are unable, or in some cases, unwilling to see the value that is already there. The real damage begins when you try to make them see it. The moment you start explaining, proving, reminding, or chasing their validation, you unknowingly place your self-worth in their hands. You begin to shape yourself according to their expectations, adjust your behavior to please them, and shrink parts of yourself that they don't like. Instead of being authentic, you try to be acceptable. Instead of being whole, you become someone edited and filtered, all in the hope that they will finally acknowledge you. And the sad part is that the more you try to prove yourself, the more they take you for granted. People don't value what is constantly available and overly eager. They value what stands firm and remains true to itself. Trying to convince someone of your worth often leads to emotional exhaustion. You start questioning yourself. Am I not good enough? Why don't they appreciate me? What am I missing? But these questions come from a place of misplaced focus. The problem is not that you are not valuable. The problem is that you are trying to hand your value to someone who is not meant to hold it. Not everyone has the sensitivity, maturity, or clarity to recognize a good heart, a sincere intention, or a loyal presence. Some people are too distracted, too self-absorbed, or too emotionally unavailable to reciprocate the way you deserve. And no amount of proving will change that. Your worth is not a negotiation. If someone cannot see your goodness, your loyalty, your kindness, or your efforts, forcing them will only make you feel smaller. You should not have to raise your voice to show your value. You should not have to chase to be noticed. The people meant for you will recognize your worth without you performing for them. They will value your presence without needing reminders. They will appreciate your efforts without keeping you waiting. They will not play games with your emotions or make you feel like you have to compete for their attention. When you stop convincing others and start affirming yourself, everything changes. You walk differently. You speak differently. You speak differently. You carry a quiet confidence. You stop apologizing for being who you are. You stop over-explaining your intentions. You stop justifying your feelings. You start honoring your boundaries. And this shift in your inner world reflects outwardly. People begin to see a version of you that is strong, grounded, and self-assured. This is the version of you that attracts the right connections. Relationships where you don't need to prove your worth because it is already understood. You are not valuable because someone sees it. You are valuable because it is who you are. And when you embrace that truth, you stop lowering your crown just to make others comfortable. You let it shine not arrogantly but naturally, and the right people will see the glow without you having to point at it. Peace begins the moment you stop begging for attention that never comes willingly. There is nothing more tiring, nothing more emotionally draining than constantly trying to make someone notice you. When you keep reaching out to people who only respond when it's convenient for them, you start living in a cycle of anxiety, waiting for replies, hoping for acknowledgement, and craving a level of presence they can never offer. This silent desperation steals your inner peace bit by bit. You may not realize it at first, but every unanswered message, every ignored effort, every moment where you feel invisible slowly chips away at your emotional balance.
Instead of experiencing relationships as a source of joy, you start experiencing them as a source of stress.
Peace is not something you gain from others. It is something you lose when you place your emotional weighing in the hands of people who don't value it. When you beg for attention, you unintentionally teach others that your needs can be ignored. You show them that your heart is available without any effort from their side. But love, respect, and attention should never be begged for. If they do not come naturally, they were never meant for you. The more you chase people, the more they feel comfortable running. The more you try to force appreciation, the more distant they become. People are drawn to confidence and independence, not desperation and dependency. It is also important to understand that attention which must be begged for is not real attention. It is temporary, forced, weak. It has no sincerity in it. Real attention flows. Real effort is consistent. Real connection does not make you feel like you are chasing something that is always out of reach. When someone truly cares, you do not have to send repeated reminders or feel anxious about being forgotten. Their presence is steady, their communication is sincere, and their interest is visible without you having to pull it out of them. When you stop begging for attention, something powerful awakens inside you. You realize that your peace matters more than someone's delayed response. Like that. You begin to understand that your time is valuable and that being ignored is not something you need to tolerate for the sake of companionship. You start choosing silence over arguments, distance over force, and self-respect over temporary validation. You shift your focus from a "we aren't they giving me attention?" to "why am I giving them so much access to my peace?" This one shift changes everything. Your peace grows when you let go of the people who disturb it. It grows when you stop chasing closure, explanations, and emotional crumbs. You stop searching for completion in others. You stop looking for someone to fill your emotional gaps because you are filling them through discipline, healing, reflection, and maturity. And a whole person becomes extremely magnetic because wholeness is rare. People can sense it. They gravitate towards someone who is grounded, self-aware, and emotionally stable. The moment you commit to your growth, you stop chasing people. And the moment you stop chasing, the right people begin to find you effortlessly. Letting people walk out allows space for better relationships and meaningful connections. Many people struggle with this because letting go feels like losing something important. We hold on tightly to relationships even when they exhaust us, believing that if we try a little harder, things will go back to how they used to be. But the truth is, some people are not meant to stay forever. Their part in your story is temporary, and holding on to them for longer than the season creates emotional pain, confusion, and stagnation. When you keep people in your life who are already mentally checked out, you block the entrance of those who genuinely want to be there. Life always makes room for better energy, better love, and better people, but only when you stop clinging to what has already completed its purpose. Some departures are not betrayals, they are necessary redirections. When someone leaves, it doesn't mean you were not good enough. It often means the universe is clearing your path. Sometimes the people you lose are the ones who are holding you back from your growth, draining your energy, or lowering your self-worth. You might not realize it at the time, but letting them go is actually an act of self-healing. You free yourself from emotional heaviness. You free yourself from constant overthinking. You free yourself from trying to keep someone who shows through their actions that they don't want to be kept. And in that freedom, your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes clearer, and your life becomes open to new possibilities. Letting people walk out also teaches you acceptance. Acceptance brings peace. It helps you understand that not everyone who starts with you is meant to finish with you. Repels come to teach you lessons, not to stay for a lifetime. They teach you what love is and sometimes what it isn't. They teach you your boundaries, your needs, your strengths, your weaknesses, and your worth. Once the lesson is complete, the connection naturally fades. Fighting to keep such people only prolongs your suffering and delays your growth. It is important to recognize that space is powerful. When you clear emotional clutter, relationships that confuse you, drain you, or belittle you, you create room for better ones. You attract people who appreciate your presence rather than tolerate it. You welcome those who truly value your time, energy, and heart. You meet individuals who match your effort, reciprocate your kindness, and stand by you with sincerity. Sincerity. This shift doesn't happen by force. It happens naturally when you honor your worth enough to let go of anyone who doesn't. Letting people walk out also strengthens your self-respect. It teaches you to choose yourself even when it hurts. So, it shows you that your peace is more important than forced connections. You realize you don't have to chase love, attention, or loyalty. The ones who are meant for you will stay without needing to be begged. They will show up consistently. They will make you feel safe, valued, and understood, not confused, anxious, or insecure. When someone walks out, it doesn't close your story. It just opens a new chapter. A chapter where you can rebuild yourself, rediscover what you truly want, and invite relationships that bring joy instead of pain, joy instead of pain. Zaka, you begin to see that the door someone walked out of was not an ending. It was an opportunity for better love, deeper connections, and more aligned people to enter your life. Letting go is not losing. Letting go is making space for something better than what you were holding on to. Letting people walk out allows space for better relationships and meaningful connections. Many people struggle with this because letting go feels like losing something important. We hold on tightly to relationships even when they exhaust us, believing that if we try a little harder, things will go back to how they used to be. But the truth is, some people are not meant to stay forever. Their part in your story is temporary, and holding on to them for longer than their season creates emotional pain, confusion, and stagnation. When you keep people in your life who are already mentally checked out, you block the entrance of those who genuinely want to be there. Life always makes room for better energy, better love, and better people, but only when you stop clinging to what has already completed its purpose. Some departures are not betrayals, they are necessary redirections. When someone leaves, it doesn't mean you were not good enough. It often means the universe is clearing your path. Sometimes the people you lose are the ones who are holding you back from your growth, draining your energy, or lowering your self-worth. You might not realize it at the time, but letting them go is actually an act of self-healing. You free yourself from emotional heaviness. You free yourself from constant overthinking. You free yourself from trying to keep someone who shows through their actions that they don't want to be kept. And in that freedom, your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes clearer, and your life becomes open to new possibilities. Letting people walk out also teaches you acceptance. Acceptance brings peace. It helps you understand that not everyone who starts with you is meant to finish with you. Some people come to teach you lessons, not to stay for a lifetime. They teach you what love is and sometimes what it isn't. They teach you your boundaries, your needs, your strengths, your weaknesses, and your worth. Once the lesson is complete, the connection naturally fades. Fighting to keep such people only prolongs your suffering and delays your growth. It is important to recognize that space is powerful. When you clear emotional clutter, relationships that confuse you, drain you, or belittle you, you create room for better ones. You attract people who appreciate your presence rather than tolerate it. You welcome those who truly value your time, energy, and heart. You meet individuals who match your effort, reciprocate your kindness, and stand by you with sincerity. This shift doesn't happen by force. It happens naturally when you honor your worth enough to let go of anyone who doesn't. Letting people walk out also strengthens your self-respect. It teaches you to choose yourself even when it hurts. It shows you that your peace is more important than forced connections. You realize you don't have to chase love, attention, or loyalty. The ones who are meant for you will stay without needing to be begged. They will show up consistently. They will make you feel safe, valued, and understood, not confused, anxious, or insecure. When someone walks out, it doesn't close your story, it just opens a new chapter. A chapter where you can rebuild yourself, rediscover what you truly want, and invite relationships that bring joy, instead of pain. And so, you begin to see that the door someone walked out of was not an ending. It was an opportunity for better love, deeper connections, and more aligned people to enter your life. Letting go is not losing. Letting go is making space for something better than what you were holding on to. When you choose yourself, you stop giving discounts on your worth and start receiving the love you truly deserve. Many people spend years lowering their standards just to keep certain relationships alive. They accept less effort, less respect, and less appreciation than they deserve because they fear losing someone. But every time you accept less, you teach others that they can offer you the minimum and still have full access to your heart. Choosing yourself is not selfish. It is the foundation of every healthy relationship you will ever experience. When you choose yourself, you shift from begging for love to becoming deserving of it. Choosing yourself begins with recognizing that your emotional needs are valid. You deserve to be listened to, respected, supported, and valued, not occasionally but consistently. When you stop choosing yourself, you make excuses for people who keep hurting you. You settle for inconsistencies and call them abnormal. You start believing that crumbs of affection are enough. But the moment you decide to honor your own value, everything changes. You stop tolerating mixed signals. You stop accepting half-hearted effort. You stop allowing anyone to play with your time or emotions. You stop shrinking just to fit into someone else's comfort zone. When you choose yourself, your energy shifts from needing others to approving yourself. You no longer rely on someone else's attention to feel important. You stop chasing validation and begin cultivating self-respect. This shift creates a powerful change in your relationships. People start noticing your confidence, your boundaries, and your inner strength. They see that your heart is no longer a discount store where anyone can walk in, take what they want, and leave without giving anything back. Instead, they see a person who knows their value and refuses to compromise it for temporary companionship. There is a deep peace that comes from choosing yourself. You no longer overthink someone's silence or lose sleep over someone's inconsistencies. You no longer drain yourself trying to save relationships that don't nourish you. Instead, you invest in your healing, growth, and happiness. You start prioritizing the activities, people, and environments that uplift you. Begin to understand that your time and your heart are precious, and not everyone deserves access to them. Choosing yourself also raises your standards naturally. You no longer settle for someone who treats you as an option. You no longer tolerate friends who only show up when they need something. You no longer accept relationships that require you to abandon yourself. You realize that healthy connections feel easy, supportive, and balanced, not exhausting, confusing, or one-sided. When you operate from a place of self-worth, you attract people who value you genuinely. They don't come to take advantage of your kindness, they come to protect it. They don't drain your energy, they add to it. People who truly love and respect you will never require you to abandon yourself. They will support your dreams, respect your boundaries, and celebrate your growth. They will understand your worth without needing reminders. But these people enter your life only when you stop entertaining those who do not appreciate you. When you choose yourself, you create space for love that is pure, respectful, and mutual. Space for friendships that uplift your soul. Space for connections that align with your values. Choosing yourself means understanding that your heart deserves the same love you give to others. And when you finally embrace that truth, you stop giving discounts to anyone who hasn't earned the privilege of being in your life. The right people recognize your value without being reminded. The wrong ones leave the moment you stop chasing. This simple truth carries a profound lesson about human nature and relationships. When someone truly sees your worth, you don't have to repeatedly prove yourself. You don't have to beg for their time, their presence, or their affection. They notice the little things you do. They appreciate your heart, and they show effort without needing constant reminders. But when someone is only connected to you for convenience, attention, or ego, they disappear the moment you stop chasing them. Their absence is not a loss, it is a revelation. Many people spend years trying to convince the wrong individuals of their worth. They explain, defend, argue, and overgive, hoping that one day the other person will finally understand how much they matter. But worth is not something you announce. It is something people recognize on their own. If someone has to be told repeatedly to treat you with respect, they were never truly invested in the first place. Genuine people don't need reminders. They don't need explanations. They see your sincerity, they value your loyalty, and they respect your presence without being pushed. When you stop chasing, the wrong people naturally fade away. They are not leaving because you did something wrong. They are leaving because the advantage they were getting is gone. Maybe they enjoyed your attention, your availability, your constant efforts. Maybe they like the fact that you were always the one trying, calling, texting, apologizing, or fixing things. When that pattern stops, their interest stops too. This is not a sign of your lack of worth. It is a sign of their lack of depth. Some people are not capable of giving what you are capable of giving. Their emotional capacity is limited, and no amount of chasing can deepen a shallow heart. On the other hand, the right people understand value. They recognize sincerity when they see it. They appreciate consistent effort. They notice the care in your actions. Even if you don't reach out every day, they don't question your loyalty because they trust your heart. They don't disappear when you stop chasing because they were never with you for selfish reasons. They stay because the connection means something to them. With the right people, you don't feel anxious, confused, or insecure. You feel safe, understood, and appreciated. It is important to realize that your value doesn't increase or decrease based on who stays or who leaves. Your value is constant. What changes is who has the vision to see it. The wrong people are like those who walk into a museum but rush past priceless paintings without a second glance. Not because the artwork is flawed, but because their eyes are not trained to appreciate beauty. When someone cannot value you, it doesn't make you any less extraordinary. It simply means they are not meant to be part of your story. The moment you stop chasing, you create space for clarity. You begin to see who was connected to your heart and who was connected to your effort. You realize who cared for you and who cared for what you provided. You discover who truly values you and who only valued your attention. And this clarity is liberating. It saves you from wasting your emotional energy on people who were never meant to stay. The right people stay not because you chase them, but because they value you. The wrong people leave not because you stop caring, but because they never truly did. When you understand this, you stop losing yourself trying to hold on to the wrong hands, and you begin trusting that the right ones will never need to be chased. Or detachment does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop forcing what was never meant for you. Many people misunderstand detachment as indifference or coldness, but true detachment is a form of emotional maturity. It means you have learned to care deeply without losing yourself. It means you can love without clinging, give without expecting, and stay without begging. Detachment is not about shutting your heart. It is about opening your eyes. It protects you from chasing relationships that drain you and allows you to embrace those that grow with you naturally. When you practice detachment, you stop trying to control how people behave, feel, or respond. You realize that you cannot force someone to stay loyal, to reciprocate effort, or to see your worth. You understand that everyone has their own path, their own timing, and their own emotional limitations. Instead of trying to fix, change, or convince people, you learn to observe their actions without taking them personally. You stop thinking, if I try harder, maybe they will appreciate me. Instead, you start thinking if they wanted to, they would. One of the greatest gifts of detachment is emotional freedom. For so long, many people tie their peace to others' behavior. If someone responds quickly, they feel happy. If someone ignores them, they feel anxious. If someone pulls away, they panic. Their emotions rise and fall based on the actions of others. But detachment breaks this pattern. It teaches you to anchor your peace within yourself instead of in the hands of unpredictable people. You begin to understand that your happiness should not fluctuate with someone's mood or availability. You learn to stay calm, balanced, and centered, regardless of how others act. Detachment also brings clarity. When you stop forcing connections, the truth becomes visible. You see who is genuinely present and who is there only out of convenience. You see who values you and who benefits from you. You see who puts effort into staying and who expects you to do all the work. This clarity saves you from emotional exhaustion. It helps you make decisions from wisdom rather than fear. Instead of thinking, I must hold on to them, you begin to see maybe letting go is an act of self-respect. Another beautiful aspect of detachment is that it strengthens self-worth. When you no longer cling to people, you begin to appreciate yourself more. You realize that your time, energy, and heart are precious. You stop giving unlimited access to people who don't value it. You stop chasing, persuading, and explaining. You start honoring your boundaries. You begin to understand that real connection doesn't require force, it flows. And anything that needs constant effort to keep alive is not love. It's emotional dependency. Detachment does not kill love, it purifies it. It removes fear, insecurity, and overthinking. It allows you to love openly but peacefully without the anxiety of losing someone. It helps you understand that you can care deeply while still choosing yourself. You can be kind while still protecting your peace. You can be available without being consumed. You can support people without carrying their emotional weight. When you embrace detachment, relationships become healthier because they are no longer based on fear or pressure. People feel more comfortable because they don't sense desperation from you. And you feel lighter because you are no longer trying to control outcomes. Detachment creates balance, and balance creates harmony. You don't stop caring, you simply stop forcing what is not aligned with your path. And in that gentle letting go, life begins to send you people and connections that match your heart without needing to be chased. What is meant for you aligns effortlessly. What is not meant for you drains your energy and steals your joy. Life has a natural rhythm, a way of bringing the right people, opportunities, and experiences to you at the perfect time, without force or struggle. When you try to hold on to things that are not meant for you, you expend endless energy chasing outcomes that resist your efforts. You push, you pull, you manipulate, and you overthink, but nothing changes. The harder you force it, the more resistance you face. Your mind becomes restless, your heart becomes heavy, and your spirit feels burdened. But when you learn to step back and trust the flow of life, things begin to fall into place naturally. What is meant for you will come without struggle. It will feel effortless, right, and peaceful. Effortless alignment is subtle but unmistakable. It shows up as synchronicity, clarity, and ease. Opportunities appear without unnecessary struggle. People show up who genuinely match your energy. Doors open at the right moment. The universe has a way of guiding you toward what belongs to you without you having to bend, chase, or manipulate. This is the beauty of living in alignment. You spend less time trying to force the world to work your way and more time allowing life to guide you toward what serves your growth and happiness. Alignment feels natural because it does not drain you, it energizes you. Every step feels lighter, every decision clearer, and every connection more meaningful. On the other hand, what is not meant for you will never feel easy. It will demand too much of your energy, time, and emotions. It will challenge your patience repeatedly, create constant stress, and leave you feeling depleted. You may achieve temporary victories, but they come at a cost, your peace. These experiences test your boundaries, drain your heart, and cloud your mind. No matter how much effort you put in, the resistance remains. This is life's way of showing you that not everything you desire is yours to hold, and that sometimes the greatest act of wisdom is learning to let go. Understanding this principle transforms the way you approach relationships, opportunities, and personal goals. Instead of chasing what resists you, you invest in what flows toward you. Instead of forcing connections, you nurture the ones that naturally flourish. Instead of burning yourself out for temporary attention or fleeting validation, you focus on experiences, people, and efforts that bring lasting joy and growth. You start recognizing that effort is important, but alignment is essential. Effort without alignment can only take you so far. Alignment with purpose, timing, and authenticity carries you effortlessly. When you trust that what is meant for you will find its way, you stop living in fear of loss or scarcity. You no longer panic when someone walks away, when a door closes, or when circumstances shift. Instead, you view these moments as guidance, a way of redirecting you toward what truly belongs in your life. You cultivate patience, resilience, and discernment, learning to distinguish between what deserves your pursuit and what deserves your release. You save your energy for people, experiences, and opportunities that naturally resonate with your values and spirit. Ultimately, life rewards those who honor this truth. The right relationships, the right opportunities, and the right experiences come without desperate effort. They align with your heart, respect your boundaries, and enhance your growth. Meanwhile, what is not meant for you gradually falls away, clearing space for the blessings that are truly aligned with your life. The moment you accept this, you stop draining yourself chasing what is not yours, and you start living fully in the energy of what is. This is when life becomes effortless, joyful, and truly abundant. Life becomes peaceful when you protect your time, guard your heart, and trust that real connections never require chasing. Many people underestimate the value of their own energy, giving it freely to those who neither respect it nor appreciate it. They say yes to requests that drain them, overextend themselves to please others, and compromise their peace to maintain relationships that are unbalanced. Over time, this constant giving without reciprocation leads to emotional exhaustion, stress, and even resentment. Protecting your time and heart is not selfish. It is necessary for your well-being. It allows you to focus on what truly matters and opens space for relationships that are meaningful and fulfilling. Guarding your heart starts with setting boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are clear guidelines that define what is acceptable and what is not in your interactions. They ensure that your kindness is not mistaken for weakness and that your love is not exploited. People who value you will respect these boundaries, and those who do not are gently filtered out of your life. When you enforce boundaries with confidence and calmness, you stop chasing people who are inconsistent, unreliable, or emotionally unavailable. Instead, you create space for individuals who contribute positively to your growth, happiness, and peace of mind. Time is another resource that demands protection. Time is limited, and once it is spent, it cannot be regained. Many people waste countless hours chasing attention from those who do not care enough to give it willingly. They wait for calls, scroll through messages, and overthink responses, losing precious energy in the process. By protecting your time, you focus on activities, people, and goals that bring genuine value to your life. You prioritize growth, self-care, and experiences that nourish your soul rather than pouring energy into situations that are one-sided or unfulfilling. Protecting your time is an act of self-respect, and it naturally draws people who respect it as well. Trusting that real connections do not require chasing is a fundamental shift in perspective. Love, friendship, and respect should flow naturally. If you constantly feel the need to beg for attention, convince someone of your worth, or chase their presence, the relationship is unbalanced. Genuine connections thrive on mutual respect, shared effort, and natural alignment. They do not make you feel anxious, insecure, or desperate. When you trust this principle, you stop forcing relationships that drain you and start recognizing those that uplift you. The right people will show up, stay consistent, and make you feel valued without manipulation or pressure. This approach also brings inner peace because it reduces anxiety and overthinking. You no longer question every interaction, misinterpret silence, or doubt your value based on someone else's behavior. You learn to focus on your own journey, your own growth, and your own happiness. When your energy is not consumed by chasing, it becomes available for creating meaningful experiences, nurturing authentic connections, and investing in yourself. You begin to attract relationships that are supportive, respectful, and aligned with your values, simply because your energy signals clarity, confidence, and self-respect. Protecting your heart and time is not about shutting people out. It is about making space for what truly belongs. It teaches discernment, strengthens self-worth, and creates balance in your life. It allows you to say yes to joy and growth and say no to exhaustion and unnecessary stress. The moment you embrace this mindset, your life naturally becomes calmer, more fulfilling, and more aligned with your purpose. You realize that chasing is unnecessary because what is meant for you will come to you without force, and what is not meant for you will fade away, leaving room for the right people, experiences, and opportunities to enter effortlessly. By safeguarding your energy and trusting the natural flow of life, you create a life filled with peace, authenticity, and meaningful connections. A life where everything that belongs to you arrives effortlessly, and nothing that drains you has power over your heart.